Now that we know everything about the AWS fundamentals, it is time for us to actually be developers on AWS. And for this, the CLI, or command line interface, is going to become your best friend. The exam will ask you a lot of questions about the CLI, so I want to take this whole section dedicated to understanding how we can programmatically access AWS. Not only will we learn about the CLI, we will also learn about the SDK, IAM policies, and IAM roles for EC2.
So far, when we've created stuff in AWS, as you see through the console, we manually created the services, and then they actually exposed, standard information from our clients. So when we had an EC2 instance, we had an SSH port, and we could do whatever we wanted. When we had an RDS database, it was just a standard MySQL or Postgres database, and we could just connect using the URL or the connection string and their various tools online. Same for Elasticcache, really. It just exposes a URL and you can connect to it and do whatever you would do with any Elasticcache. Likewise, when we did with ASG and ELBs, they were automated and they were managed services, and we really don't have to write any code against them, right? And Route 53 setup was manual. So you get the idea. Everything we've done so far, except S3, was pretty much standard, IT. But sometimes when you develop against AWS, you have two components you need to take care of. Number one is, how do you perform interactions with AWS without using the online console? As you know, doing stuff manually is quite bad. The second is, how do you interact with AWS proprietary services? And that would be Amazon S3, DynamoDB, and other services, as we'll see later in this course. So this is where the CLI comes in. When you perform AWS tasks against AWS, you can do it in several ways. You can use the CLI from your local computer. You can use the CLI from EC2 machines. You can use the SDK from your local computer, the SDK on your EC2 machines, or even using the AWS Instance Metadata Service for EC2. So there's quite a lot of new concepts in here, but we'll go one by one and we'll learn all of them. And my really strong wish here is to teach you the right and most secure way, and will adhere to best practices. I've seen this section done so many times wrong elsewhere, so I really want you to get the right idea so that you nail the exam questions on the CLI and on IAM roles and policies. So let's get started.